What's going on, ladies and gents? Back again with another video. In today's video, I got my guy Ricky over here. Really excited for this one. I think this one's very special. Ricky's all the way from Australia, and it's been a couple months since we've been working together, and it's been a journey. This guy's a killer. He's went through a lot of things, but yeah, let's get into the nitty gritty already. Like, where are you at right now? I know, like let's talk about where are you at right now with everything.
Yeah, so been running my agency now for a few months, and I'm currently sitting at about 5K a month. Had to slow things down for a bit, but yeah, looking to ramp things up over the next few months towards the end of the year. So yeah, looking
That's
looking pretty
fire,
good.
bro. 5K a month. I know you wanted to hold this off because you wanted to do 10K a month interview,
Yeah,
but it's like, bro, this there's already a great, starting off because where were you before, right? Like, can I tell us about your story on how did you get here?
yeah. So I've always dabbled in the online space for not always, but for the last probably 3 years or so. Drop shipping, um, tried SMMA as well. So I had
Yeah.
tried having an agency before, didn't really work. Um, Affiliate marketing, yeah, XYZ. I've tried a lot of things online over the years, and nothing really stuck. And I think it was mainly because I wasn't committing, but also just because I didn't have a accumulation of enough knowledge. Um, I think that's what really changed this
Mm,
year. I really knuckled down. Mindset had a little bit of a shift as well. And
yeah.
yeah, now I'm here.
Now you're here, right? And you've mentioned, right, you were trying a lot of stuff online, and I know you were working as well. You have a day job as well, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
bro,
yeah,
like we would hop on calls, and you're like 1 a.m. at your time, like 2 a.m. your time. You were there at every single call, bro. Like, how was
yeah.
that? Tell us about the like, because people were like, oh, like, I'm working full time right now. I can't get into this. Like, what would you say to that excuse?
That's fucking bullshit. Yeah, like yeah, so my background is I finished my degree in construction management about three or
Yeah,
4 years ago, and then yeah, I worked in construction as a project engineer for the last 3 years or so.
yeah,
And I don't know if people are familiar with construction. It's long hours. You start work at 7, finish at 5 p.m.
yeah,
6 p.m. And obviously you got to drive to and from work. But I just knew that if I just didn't try and do anything else on the side, I was never going to be able to get out of that, you
yeah,
know, that system of working a 9 to 5 or a 7 to 5 for me and doing stupid crazy hours. I obviously
yeah.
don't want to be doing that forever. So yeah.
What would you say is like the motivation behind it? Because that's a lot of hours, and then at the same time you're still putting hours into getting into high ticket closing, right? Learning the skills
Yeah.
and everything.
What would be the motivation, man? Uh, I don't know, just not being content in the position I was in. And I always used to tell myself, stop being a bitch. Like, am I
Yeah,
gonna let life bend me over and fuck me, or am I gonna
yeah,
stand up and actually, you know, make something of my life and do what I want to do and not just do what I'm told to do. So
yeah,
that's my main motivation, man. I always used to tell myself, stop being a bitch, stop being a bitch.
yeah. What was
And
the
then my,
shift that happened though? Because you were trying all these things, right?
yeah,
And it's like, shit, like it's not working out, and then you had to go back to the construction management, right? And then
I I honestly think it was um in all honesty joining the program. It was the first proper program I joined.
mm,
Um and I was able, like, even just a sales call with you that I jumped on with you, like
yeah,
that was pretty cool. And then just seeing a few guys being successful, that was something that created a shift. It wasn't not always, I wouldn't say the first thing was the content, or even though it's great and the
hmm,
course, but it was being able to see a few like-minded people being successful and doing well. And that was something
mm,
that because I hadn't really seen many people. I'd always seen gurus on YouTube and seen people, flexing on ads and on
Yeah.
TikTok, and whatever. But actually having a conversation and with someone that's genuine and someone that's been honest, and you can actually see what they're doing and how they're going about things. That was probably one of the things that really flicked the switch
The flip
in
this
my
switch is
head.
just being around like-minded people, essentially.
Yeah, 100%, man. And people that are doing it, they might not be at the top, but they're on that journey, and you can see the progress. That's what,
Yeah.
yeah, helped me, I think.
Right. It's because it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you could probably join a bigger group or whatever, but they're like 10 or 20 steps ahead of you. It's like, can
Then,
you really learn from that? Right. And then my principle has always been like, hey, if you're at least 2 or 3 steps ahead of me, I know I could learn a thing or two from you that will get me to your level, right? So it's the same thing here, right? It's like
yeah,
not a lot of the guys inside the community, right? It's like, yeah, we're making progress and we're getting there, but we're not also making like 100K, 200K months. It's just like, we're on the journey to get there, right? So, and I like what you said, like, it's the community getting successful people, and just seeing that it actually works out. It's like the validity on it is like, okay, I have a confirmation that this works out, right? And I know, you got into closings, you got into multiple closing offers, and eventually you transitioned back to your SMMA essentially.
yeah.
What would you say was the difference between you starting your SMMA before trying to make that work out to now? That, what was the roadblock that why didn't you get to, 5, 10K a month before compared to now?
Um, a good question, and still honestly, the closing definitely helped. So being
Uh-huh.
able to go on calls. Actually, all right. So this is actually what helped. I know now. So I got into a role with a marketing agency as a closer. That I was
Yeah.
closing.
Mm-hmm.
I would never have gotten that role, obviously, hadn't I've begun, high ticket closing or started learning how to be a closer.
Yeah.
And getting into that role really opened my mind as well. Being able to see a successful agency, they had around 500 clients on retainers month,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
grew really well, had a big team of about 30 to 40 staff. Um,
Yeah.
and I got to see the ins and outs of their business and work closely with the owner. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that was something that really helped me,
Mm.
broaden my mind and yeah, be able to start up SMMA again. And then yeah, obviously being able to jump on calls with clients and you know have some sort of structure and system to my calls. Because
Yeah.
before, when I had my agency before, I, I closed 17 clients, but none of them were paying up front, which was,
Mm.
as we've
Yeah.
spoken before, it's not a sustainable way of doing business.
Now you actually close deals, right? And then,
Yeah,
structure the
mm,
offer, you
make money
actually
up
get,
front.
hey, setup fees, this is the
Yeah,
retainer we're gonna do. We're gonna get your X, Y, and Z results, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that's helped a lot.
I love that. I mean, in terms of that right now, in terms of the program, right? Just straight up transparency, like how did that help you? And, what did you like about the program?
Mhm.
Previously known as Project White Rabbit, but now Renaissance Closer. Like,
Yeah.
what do you feel like help you get to your level? And what do you feel like could be worked on? Because I want to make sure everybody's transparent too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. For me, like I I didn't really look at the program as in what could the program do for me, but what really helped me the most was the mentoring and one-on-one mentoring and the calls and being able to jump on a call whenever with you. And
yeah.
I don't think you get that with a lot of programs. And even if they say they do, a lot of guys, aren't willing to actually jump on a call, every day or whatever that,
Yeah. I know
you
at one
know.
point we were like jumping on calls. Hey, can you hop on a call in 5 minutes? Hey, let's do it, bro.
Yeah, exactly, man. And like I appreciate that because I know how it is. Like even right now, I'm doing a business and I'm having a business, and if a client goes to me, "Oh, can we jump on a call now?" I'm like, "Oh man, I want to prepare," or I've got this to do, I've got that to do. This is more important than jumping on a call with you right now and explaining something that I've already explained to you. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get that as well, but I appreciate that a lot, and that adds a lot of value to your program because not a lot of guys out there I reckon provide that value to their guys, and yeah, it's really valuable. So I think that was probably the best part of being a part of the program.
I love that. I appreciate it too. And I think that's number one thing too is like I I was there, right? Because it's like I wish I would have had this when I was starting off. I wish I would have had this,
Yeah,
this thing right here if I was starting off my journey as a closer or my journey on just starting my own business. It's like it's
mhm.
hard, bro. It's not easy. That's why
Yeah,
it's like, getting as much support as you need. And I'm now at that point where it's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna give you guys as much time and attention as I can during this time. That's why I
mm,
enjoy it, right? Like even now, like I'd love to, get you up to date on your SMMA, like where you're at. Are you creating content? Are you launching your ads or whatever, right? So it's like, okay, let's get this at 20K a month, right? Where work how what could we work on to get you to this level, right? Because that doesn't just raise the value of, you know, the my circle, but it's also like helping you out to get to the next level, right? It's fun, right? It's like, you
level
struggle
up.
with this and then you do this, right? That's why I enjoy it a lot. And what would you say, um, like to the people who's, like struggling to get into high ticket closing or just starting their venture and trying to make money online, like what advice would you give to them?
I mean, back to what I was just saying, like the one-on-one mentoring, like and the course, you can find the material out there, and
Yeah,
if you don't need to join a course because of the material or the videos that you provide or any of that stuff, because you can find that if you want. But the
yeah,
one-on-one mentoring is, I mean, you're not going to get that online by watching a YouTube video or a guru, with
yeah, that's true.
especially with high ticket closing. Like it's something that you need someone to be looking over your shoulder and giving you pointers and helping you out. And even the best of high ticket closers have people telling them, what they need to do better
Yeah.
or what they're doing wrong. It's always you're always evolving with closing. I feel like and with sales. From what
Hmm.
I've seen from you guys, I'm by no means a great closer, but yeah, from what
Hmm.
I've seen from you guys are always analyzing yourself as well, and you guys have calls amongst yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if anyone's
No.
looking to get
Yeah.
high ticket closing, you definitely need a mentor and someone who's been in the game for a while, and is willing to actually sit with you, and go through the hard yards with you.
Hmm. 1,000%, man. It's like one of those things where the way I like comparing sales or high ticket closing is like it's like a sport. Like, but this is a sport where you could play forever. It's not like, for basketball or MMA, there's a time limit you could play that, right? Because eventually you're gonna get, CTA or whatever or concussion,
Mhm.
and you can't play anymore. You're just physically limited now at that point. But here it's like forever. You could play it forever. It's like if you shoot a basketball and you don't do it for a few weeks, then you're gonna get rusty. So same thing for sales, right? Like if you don't do sales calls for a few weeks, you try to get back into it, you're gonna get rusty. It's like consistent, right? It's the sport that you can
and
play. There's always something new to learn.
and it translates to so many walks of life, like not even just business, but just interactions with people. But
Hmm.
business is probably the main one where you can use it in everything. Just general conversations with business partners, clients,
Yeah,
employees. Yeah,
yeah,
it's very
no,
valuable.
100%. That's why I like how you've mentioned, like the circle, right, and being able to have one-on-ones, and that's why I pivoted even the program now to Renaissance Closer, where we're gonna have more, in-person events because I realized that's so valuable, right? Like me moving here in Vegas and being surrounded with like-minded individuals building your business. it's such a high ROI because you get feedback like this, right? So
Yep.
that's why I want to do eventually more in-person events, retreats, because I think there's more validity in it and you actually get something out of it where yes, you can just get a course. Everybody could get a course, right? Like and go through a course, but like what you said, is the one-on-ones is the most, the
And I
best that you could get into.
think what you just said as well, like being able to get your answers, straight away, quick, is very important because the longer you take, and this like which is something I did for a long time. I was trying to do things a lot by myself, and it took me 3 years, to get to the knowledge of where I was at, but probably at the start of this year in terms of like ads and building a company and blah, etc. Y XYZ. But if I
Mm,
wish I joined a like an SMMA course early on, and then probably even joined it. I joined the closing at the right time, but
yeah,
combining them together was probably what made it for me.
I love that. Yeah, man. I mean, what's next here now? Like,
Yeah.
what's next for Riki?
So we were meant to do a 10K call, but
Yeah,
let's do a 20K call in the next few months.
yeah.
Yeah,
20K call.
I really want to try and scale this in the next couple of months, and
Mm,
yeah, man, and I think I can now. Um, so I've got proof of work, I guess, at the moment, and yeah, just knuckle down, monk mode, no
yeah,
distractions. Because I've
I
had a
love
fair few
that.
distractions over the last few
What do
months.
you feel like what do you feel like is if you would summarize it, what's the most needle moving thing that you need to do right now to get to 20K a month?
Um, Attention. I
Mm,
need to get attention.
more attention.
Yeah.
All right, here there you go, man. We'll definitely work on that. Definitely
Mm.
in the after this interview, I would love to dive deeper into it. But again, appreciate you taking your time here and you know um again, it's one of those things, right? Like what you said earlier, you were working full time, you were still hopping on calls and because you had to make it work out, right?
Yeah.
And I guess so what's your last words if someone is like kind of on the edge, like, hey, I don't know if this is for me, but I know I have to make a change, blah blah, blah. Like they just stumble across this video.
You know what you got to do. Don't be a bitch.
I love it. All right. Appreciate your time, brother. Till next time, we'll definitely do a
Okay.
20K a month video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you in another one. Peace out.
Cheers. Yeah.